Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska, part of the Rivals Network. And over there is Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, we are back once again. Unfortunately, we are not talking about a Husker win. The Huskers go to Madison, Wisconsin, a city they have not won a football game in since 1966. I was not alive during them, and they fall in overtime to the Badgers, 24-17. Jay, obviously a lot of discussion points are going to come out of this one, especially at the end of regulation with Matt Rule, his clock management, the timeouts that he chose to not call, with, I guess, under a minute and a half. Clock starts ticking down all the way to 20, and Rule starts using his timeouts, which doesn't allow him as many opportunities for some shots into the end zone as many fans would have liked. Obviously, this is coming after 2 weekends ago with the Maryland game, of them being maybe too aggressive in some fans' eyes, and now they're not aggressive at all, and maybe playing for the tie there. So just what are your overall thoughts on the game? Nebraska falls to 5-6, 3-5 in the conference, and now it all comes down to that Black Friday game at home against Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes. If they beat them, they're going bowling. If they don't, they are not going bowling, and it's going to be a really disappointing end to a once promising season. But Jay, Huskers, Badgers, go.
I felt like obviously the start was great, and we just kind of lost our way a little bit. The 4th and 1, that you got, Wisconsin, they made a heck of a play. I think they timed up the snap pretty good, and something that had been working. So I don't even fault the play call. It's just like, look, they're on scholarship, they're at home, they got good players on defense. They made a good play. It was up to us to stop them, and that's where really what it comes down to. I even said it in Maryland. Yeah, you can get into the play call and whether you should have went for a field goal 2 weeks ago or being too aggressive, and then this one you needed to be more aggressive. Sure, we'll be on this thing for 2 hours. And hindsight's 2020. And but I think that we lost our way and kind of got discombobulated a little bit on our heels. And look, you always expect Wisconsin, they're prideful, program. Sure. So they're going to make a run at you, right? And I thought we withstood it going to halftime 14-10. We should be up 17-10.
Yeah.
But if you would have asked before the game on the road in Madison, a place you hadn't won, not to feel bad, Steve, even before I was born, you'd been fine with it, right? And defense came out the first series, stopped, and we got it back. We didn't do anything. Then we kind of had to, the punts didn't help us pin them down, and so those are like small momentum changers. Sure. Because it gives them a little confidence, like, oh, we got a lucky bounce, or he shanked a couple. Well, then that puts everybody on their heels, and then really, to be honest with you, we're down by 3. We kind of I wouldn't say walk the ball down there. We did a good job of getting down there, and obviously some of the things that Chuba was able to do, and I felt he played pretty good. Really, to be honest with you, especially for not playing in a very long time, not getting a lot of practice reps, he's pretty good. And then, I guess you could, there's 2 ways to look at it. One, first of all, the being in the heat of the moment and the fans, I don't think you coach for the fans, and I don't think they're doing that. It's 2 different situations, right? You feel very comfortable after driving the ball down. Yeah, you could have probably gave him a couple more shots, but then, what legitimately had you been able to do? We hadn't really been able to get a lot of consistent, throws or that you wanted. Yeah, you could have dialed up a couple, but then, you get into overtime, you get them on 3rd down. So listen, it's even Steven, right? You got a chance to go into overtime, 3rd down, have the quarterback dead to rights, and you essentially whiff. I call any quarterback run over like 7 yards, I call that an explosive run.
Yeah.
And especially, I get that. And especially when it's off target or off schedule, right? Meaning right scheme, right coverage, guy in the hole. We just need to get him down, force them to kick a field goal. Not only does he get the 1st down, he gets it and eats up more yardage to where you're essentially hoping that they really stub their toe, right, or make a bad play call. You're down 7-0. and then just never, then Wisconsin has all the momentum. So, the big is a big cause and effect. So there were some positive things, but there was like in the middle of the game, it got real choppy. And then, whether the defense kind of started to hold their head above water, the offense wasn't able to answer. The offense started to get some good things, and special teams couldn't pin them down and punt. Then the defense is back on their heels, and then we get it together, get to overtime. Boom, missed that tag. That's it right there. Tanner Mordecai and those all scheduled runs, and it wasn't all scheduled runs that we didn't have an answer for. We just did not tackle well, and that's what take the take the 3 timeouts left, right? You know what? Nebraska don't call a timeout for the whole game. Okay.
Yeah.
Take that out of there. Brian Buschini, you're having a little bit of the, bad hits, right? Take that and throw that out of there. If we tackle well, right? Yeah. And we do what we're supposed to do, tackle with the right technique, leverage, and all that stuff, we win the game. I'm willing to bet it.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably, look, from a defensive guy, I always feel like we can win. And so, and they had been. And so that's where when you need it, sometimes you got to find it within yourself and understand every play is 4th and 1, no matter if it's 3rd and 16. And it got to be the same mentality.
Tanner Mordecai, he threw for 160 yards, 1 touchdown. But again, like you said, Jay, he was very slippery in the backfield. He was just doing these little moves in the backfield, and the Husker defenders weren't looking like they were really breaking down once they got to him, and they were flying by, and Mordecai would just like sidestep and then go. He rushed for 51 yards and had a 16-yarder in there too. A lot of key 3rd down pickups on the ground from Tanner Mordecai. So
right.
Absolutely right. But let's get into these plays here. We think we have 5 for you, Jay. And when a lot of this was a good mix of defense and offense, in my opinion. And once we get to the plays here we are. Let's kick it off with Ty Robinson. So Ty Robinson had interior defender for the Huskers, 2 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and again 2 pass breakups when he gets his big paw up there when he's not getting to the quarterback exactly like he's taught. And he's had multiple of those past few weekends. It's been fun to watch. But he beats center Tanner Bortolini, right here early in the game, and I thought he kind of set the tone for the defensive front and the defense. Again, Nebraska gets off to a 14-0 lead here, and I thought the defense, they did a good job of getting off the field early in the game, and I think Ty really kind of showed his progress, his career arc. He's kind of really coming into his own in this defense, in this system, and I really like this job against Bortolini here.
Yeah, last 2 games has probably been, once his best games, he's been very consistent, right? That means he's been showing up every game and every quarter during those games. But right here, look, right, you get in there and your one-on-one pass rush, right? You'd like to get him down right there, probably a little bit, top heavy on there. And then Jamari Butler is able to rush him or rally and sack him here. But watch this right here. The get off is key right here, right? Read the set. Ty's showing some quickness, right? Terrence Knighton right there, right? Swipe, swim, over. There you go. That's the potential. That's what everybody's been wanting. And then he's big enough and strong enough right there. You'd like to see him go to that top shoulder right there and get him down, right? A little bit too high, but right there, it messes up the flow of the play.
Absolutely.
And good job there by Jamari Butler of running him down right here. So this is a good schematic thing and good thing right there. Good job by Judy right there to kind of hold his leverage, and good job by Jamari Butler kind of being a secondary spy and obviously backed up by Gifford. So it starts and stops with Ty Robinson right here. You got a 3-man rush right here against 5 blockers, right? So and the guy that's one-on-one has got to win. So this is where you get evaluated of being a good player, right? This it's kind of both the guys on the outside are kind of double teamed by the the guard and tackles, and you're one-on-one with the center, and he's a pretty decent center, and Ty beats him and beats him so cleanly that the running back can't even help him, right? So you see it right here, 74-71 on Cam Linhart. 79 and not sure 60 something is on Judy, right? So you're trying to create a one-on-one, and the guy that's one-on-one has to win. Well, Ty Robinson won, busted up the play because you got to think Tanner Mordecai could have thrown it to his Pauling right there and maybe got a first down. But what Ty does is make him scramble out opposite where their number 1 receiver is, doesn't feel comfortable. Then you got secondary guys right there. See the plastering right there. So that's a really good play all around. Good schematics, good execution, and then good hustle and good finish.
Our second play actually involves Ty Robinson as well. So I think Nebraska looks like they have a 5-man front. And I was going to, we have two angles of this. I'm going to ask you a question in this second one. But Jay, this is a 4th and 2 stop. This is a pretty big stop for the Husker defense in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth. Robinson, Omar Brown is an extra, is that big bodied safety who kind of walks down into the box to add another body down there. Riley Van Poppel, the true freshman from Texas. He's kind of been a mainstay in that short yardage package for Tony White and Terrence Knighton. And they do an excellent job here, I think, kind of stoning what Wisconsin was trying to do.
Yeah, you got it right here. It's 4th and 2. Wisconsin's trying to, put the icing in the game. Nebraska's down by 3. First of all, look at the get off there. If you can go back, look at Van Poppel off the ball, punching a hole in it. I call it burping the defense, right? Watch this.
Okay.
Watch this, guys. Right. Look at the leverage, right? This dude's 18 years old. Punch, right? Probably could have been a little lower. Burped him right there. Kind of got tangled up right there, but he caused the pile. Nash comes around. Luke Reimer's, dipping in there. And then there goes Omar Brown coming up there and finishing. And the good thing about it is Ty Robinson held his point right there. So, again, good schematic call, right? Great execution, and then the energy, effort, and physicality, right? So watch this right here. Watch Riley Van Poppel right there. Good, probably reading his stance. Boom, punches 60 in the face. Ty Robinson kind of takes on a double team, holds point, doesn't give up any yardage, right? There's a big old dude right there. Ty's right there, kind of creating a pile. And then 2 guys that are open, and Ty gets up in on there, right? So Ty melted, melted. Look,
he's 2 guys.
He's bear hugging both of them.
Yeah.
And then just essentially destroyed that whole play. And so it's Riley Van Poppel, Omar Brown. It was started and stopped with Ty Robinson, obviously with him winning, and Van Poppel, and then Luke Reimer kind of slipping in there and kind of getting a kind of paw on him, and then Omar Brown stepping up and getting it. But look, when you get 4th down stops, right, it starts with that defensive line. So you got Terrence Knighton has done a really good job with all these guys, and you go all the way back to the one that kind of really gave them confidence to do it on the road in Illinois after the Michigan game. And then I think Maryland, they did it. And then, I think Purdue twice or something like that. So look, it's nature versus nurture. We did a good job right there. And guys that were, everybody won right there. Ty Robinson win, right? Luke Reimer getting over there. Riley Van Poppel doing his job. And Ty Robinson was able to take on 74, not give up any ground in a base block and win. Look, one-on-one block right there, get him off you, get your big left paw in there, and Omar Brown did a good job filling. So it's a win-win. Scheme, effort, execution, and excellence. And so they should be, these are things that, as frustrating as it is when you lose these games, you're like, dang, it's the little things, the very little things in the situational football that's, Nebraska's really struggling. But defensive effort and stuff like this, especially in these first 2 plays, are something that you can hang your hat on.
So Jay, I have a question about the alignment here. So look, the center and both guards are covered up, it looks like. So is this a bear front that Nebraska is using? Can you explain? Explain the bear front and like what they're trying to do by covering up the 3 interior guys?
Well, you want to create, one-on-one blocks, right? Okay. And you want to mess up their schematics. So if you go back and you see Nash right here, right?
Yeah.
If he stays there, the center got him, right? Look, he moves away, he checks. Ty Robinson's doing it. Then he kind of gets late up to Gifford right there. Gifford does a good job going down there. Good leverage. Look at that Gifford right there. Get over, get you some, get wet, right?
Yeah.
And then allows everybody else to do this. So yeah, it's a bear front. I guess it's a good. We used to call it a reduced front, right?
Okay.
In a 34. So it's kind of a 34 look right here, 3-4 look, right? And you have different people playing different positions, right? You got Nick Heinrich, Henrich is usually an inside backer. He's flexed out there, right? This is what gives you the flexibility of 3-3-5. Then you got an in-between good physical safety and Luke or Isaac Gifford that's able to come in and play inside backer. Then you got a guy that's a thumper in there. And that's Omar Brown.
Yep.
And so what you're able to do and what I mean by reduced front, it's a zero technique by Nash, and a reduced front, you kind of 2-3 techniques or 3-eye, looser tight threes, right?
Okay.
That's reduced front because you're not in the Okie front. If you pause it right here, Okie front would be like essentially 2-5 techniques, which is head up on the tackles, the inside, or head up on the tackles, and then a zero, and then you would have the linebackers essentially covering the guards, right?
Okay.
So in a reduced front, generally you line up right behind, Ty and Riley, or if you really want to, be in I guess let them know where you're going to be at, you'd split the defensive lineman with your inside leg right down the middle, and then you're kind of changing gaps. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think right here is not only are they in a reduced front or bare front, whatever you want to call it, is the movement here, and that's the nuances of this defense. And look how they're moving right here. See the hands right there by Riley and Ty.
Oh yeah.
Generally, I think in the past they've been slanting and just getting on an edge. You're owning your gap right here, and Riley just gets tripped up here on 63 right there. See how he gets tripped, but what it allows him to do is kind of clip the legs of 74, allows Ty to bend him backwards, and then make the play. So it's all around a good play.
For sure. That was an excellent stuff. All right, let's head to the offensive side of the ball. Let's kick it off with Chuba Purdy's 55-yard touchdown run on Nebraska's first series of the game. Wisconsin brings a corner cat blitz, which they did quite often. And Jay, you can explain why they did that. But Chuba sees it, runs around it, and just outruns everybody.
Yeah. Well, first of all, a cat blitz generally comes from the boundary side. And Nebraska used to run this a lot with Eric Shenander, who was, a defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, you do this against sometimes a young, inexperienced quarterback that doesn't have a lot of starts. One, because they have to, you think of your hot blitzes or your hot routes or hot personnel or a person that's going to run the hot route to the wide side of the field, right? Because generally that's where you think the blitzes will come from. Well, the cat blitzes, you're generally coming off the boundary side, short side of the field. In this case, Chuba Purdy right here, look, he's always had escapability. And, Wisconsin defender, obviously they don't blitz a lot, right? So you got to get to the upfield shoulder. Look what Chuba does right here. Sees it coming right here, escapes out to the, the right side. Now, once he breaks the pocket now, that's what I talk about. Now you think about it. I just talked about explosive runs. Now this is an extremely explosive run. Good pass blocking, by the way. Gets it. 24, they're in man-to-man, right? Or kind of zone. Because what happens is when you run this cat blitz, that safety defender and inside linebacker takes over the coverage, right? And 24 had his back this time. 54 is coming out of coverage. And, Chuba can pick him up and put him down 55 yards to the house. And so it all starts with being able to either defeat the cat blitz or the blitz to your hot route or your hot receiver who has a hot read, or it's sometimes they say it's the quarterback's guy, and how you beat him is by your feet, right? Which Chuba did right here, or getting it to whoever you need to get it to. And once he breaks contain right here, the one good thing is eyes are down the field, so he's looking to actually pass it. But once 24 comes out of there, and look at, he can't start and stop, and everybody thinks it's easy. Chuba does a good job right here. And then what do we always say, Steve, when we're breaking down these high school guys? Get down that hash, right? That's where the explosive plays come down the middle. And look at him, man. He's blowing right past Fedoni and everybody else. So this is what made Chuba really appealing when he first came in the portal. And obviously, I think he's the little knick-knack injuries are kind of
he's playing through some pain,
right. But now he looks somewhat healthy. And I think learning from last year, being thrown in there and maybe not meeting his expectations, has probably maybe helped him, be focused. And this is opportunity for him, and he handled himself well. But this shows his athletic ability, but then also the ability, again, to work off schedule. When they ran this cat blitz, it's the perfect call for the perfect offensive call. And sometimes, players are better than their players, and that's where Chuba Purdy was.
So Chuba Purdy, he was good on that play, not so good on this play. So Wisconsin runs another blitz from the corner, the boundary side, and it gets home. So just Jay, we were talking about this one yesterday. Whose job is it to see this coming and just go educate me? What's happening here?
Well, I mean, well, first of all, you like to say it's the quarterbacks, but sometimes you can say it's the receivers. Sometimes you have, now, granted, you're on the road. I'm imagining it's loud. You want to run your sight adjust essentially off of this guy. So Malik, I'm not in the meeting, so I don't know whose responsibility it is. But here's what I've seen as a defender: the receiver would just break off his route and run a stop route, right? Or the running back here, if he sees a late blitzer, he would chip him, right? I've seen that. Or it's the quarterback's responsibility to get it to whoever is his hot route. So I don't really know whose quote unquote responsibility it is. It just didn't work out. So I guess you could say, it's either the quarterback, running back, or the receiver. It might be a combination of all three, but I really don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, this is, you get neither a stop route from Malachi. You get no chip from Anthony Grant, and obviously Chuba is looking the other
Yeah.
way, doesn't see him, and yeah, just a sack.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good call for, look, they're going to run cat blitzes, and they, to the boundary side, and they must have seen something, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the schematics. And so they're giving Wisconsin credit. This is something that they've been running this. They were running this since the first series.
Yeah.
And, whether it's based on the split of the wide receiver or based on the, being on the boundary side, they decided to, kind of live and die by it. And they got burned on it the first time, had confidence in it to keep running it. And, it paid off for them, I think a few times after that.
Last play that we're going to look at is a really, really important one. So this is the second quarter. Early in the second quarter, Nebraska is up 14-0, and it's that fourth and short, fourth and 1, and they do not get it. The interior of the offensive line gets blown back. So Nebraska puts out its jumbo package here. They have Henry Lutovsky playing that extra tight end. Janarin Bonner is right next to him. On the other side, to Chuba's left, is Luke Lindenmeyer. So you have some big blockers out there. But I think what really kind of messes this play up is just Wisconsin's push on the interior of Nebraska's O-line.
Yeah, I mean, I like the play call. I like being aggressive going for it. Obviously the result I wish was, way better. And give Wisconsin credit. They just surged off of there, and essentially, it's a hard job to be a center and then taking on a guy. Look, I mean, he's leveraged. I mean, it's a good play by this nose guard here because he made the play. Maybe you would like a little bit tighter split there by 51, but ultimately, look, they're in a reduced front, right?
They are.
Nebraska. Right? Nebraska.
They're even tighter than Nebraska was, it looked like.
Right. Right. So they're surging into the A gaps right there. And it's a good job there by the nose guard to kind of mess up the whole play. And Nebraska was kind of looking like they were trying to run an inside zone. So we just got beat up front. And that's just, I don't mind the play call. I like being aggressive. I could have, I could see where people say kick a field goal and you need points, but sure. I mean, and Nebraska had been running the ball pretty easily up to this point. They've been doing whatever the heck they wanted to do on offense, so I don't mind the call. Execution wasn't there. It would have been a great call and a great mindset if we would have got it. We just got beat, and that's what people need to understand. That happens in college sports. There's no guarantee, as we've seen, every time that we shoot or every time that we try to kick that we're going to make it. So that's just where we're at. I don't mind it, and it was dead to water. We just got beat, and that's all there is to it. And give Wisconsin a ton of credit. They had, the right call for what we had, or had a call that could have been a winnable play, and they won up front, and we didn't. And that's just part of, you're not going to win every match or every matchup, and that's just the unfortunate result of that play right there.
Absolutely. So what that loss does is create a very, very big. I mean, it's always big. The game against Iowa on Black Friday, but Jay, what are your initial thoughts real quick before we get out of here? A lot is riding on this game. Trip to a bowl somewhere is riding on this game. If the Huskers can win this thing, Iowa's coming in. We all know the jokes about their offense, but Nebraska's had some struggles on offense too. We'll see what Chuba Purdy, if healthy and if he's starting, what he can do against a really, really good Iowa defense that will be without Cooper DeJean, who's one of the best players in college football at corner, safety, linebacker, punt returner, whatever he plays, which is all of them. So, Jay, initial thoughts.
It's Iowa. It's a tough game. I mean, it's the record really doesn't mean anything. Obviously, last year let you know they're in Iowa.
Yep.
They're going to try to come back and cap their season off and, end up with 10 wins and get some revenge and go into the Big Ten championship on a high note. So ultimately, Nebraska shouldn't be scared to play them. They just got to go out there and have a good week of practice, even though it's going to be obviously reduced a little bit with the game being on Friday. Focus in and go back and think of, okay, what did we do well? What didn't we do well? And why we didn't, and really remedy that. Look, you got 1 week left. You got, I don't know, 3-4 practices. I don't know how many in this season. This is a tremendous opportunity, and you're playing. It's no different than when they played with Wisconsin. It's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
the game is gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a fourth quarter game. Again,
it's gonna be a fourth quarter game. Yep. You just got to go win it, and you got to go out there and earn it. And that's the great thing about it. But it's a super hard thing. It's not. we're not playing like McNeese State trying to get, make sure that
Yeah.
we're motivated to get into the bowl game. We got to go out there and beat a quality opponent that's found a way to piece together a 9-win season. They would like nothing better than beating Nebraska, and we would like nothing better than beating them. And we got a lot on the line, and so do they. You got to think they don't want to show up against Ohio State or Michigan after just getting beat by Nebraska. They don't want to. So they're going to be motivated. You're going to get their best shot, but you got their best shot last year. And I'd be willing to bet you that I feel like they were better on defense and offense last year, talent wise. And you pretty much dominate that game. So you just got to do it again.
Absolutely. 11 a.m. kick, Black Friday, Nebraska, Iowa. It's going to be a fun one. Jay and I will be back next week to break it all down for everybody. So for Jay Foreman, I am Steve Marik, and that was a Blackshirt Breakdown, Wisconsin edition. Catch y'all later.